Alright guys, in today's video we're going to be taking some time to talk about Deathloop. I believe that what we're seeing with Deathloop is a very unique situation where it's a win-win. It's a win for PlayStation fans, it's a win for Xbox fans, and I want to take some time to discuss why I believe that, point out some of the very interesting aspects of this game, maybe some things that are a little bit unexpected. I definitely wanted to take some time here to talk about what's going on with Deathloop because it's a game that honestly I haven't talked much about. Part of the reasoning for that is because I feel like we've seen so much of Deathloop that it feels redundant to even talk about it. But the game is out now, so we don't have to worry about the marketing campaign constantly showing us a new trailer, constantly showing us more gameplay to the point where it feels like, please don't show any more. You've already shown enough. But you look here on Metacritic, Deathloop is sitting at an 88. Deathloop currently is only available on PlayStation 5 and PC. It's going to become available on the Xbox Series consoles next year, actually this time next year. So it's a 1-year timed exclusive for PlayStation 5. But where things get a little bit complicated is the studio that developed Deathloop is owned by Microsoft now. For those who may not be aware, although I'm sure most of you are, Arcane was bought up by Microsoft. They are part of Bethesda, and so when the Bethesda and ZeniMax acquisition went down, Arcane went to Microsoft. And if you're wondering how it's possible Deathloop is only releasing on PS5, given that the studio is now owned by Microsoft, it's because the deal that was struck between Sony and Arcane was prior to the acquisition. So Microsoft has to, honor that deal that's in place, to honor that contract. But it's really strange because if that wasn't the case, if Deathloop was never made to be a timed exclusive for Sony and Arcane was bought and then suddenly Deathloop became an Xbox exclusive, it would be a big deal for Microsoft because you look at this game, it's a critical success. By far, it's a critical success. It's very difficult to achieve an 88 on Metacritic. That's the same score that Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is sitting at. I believe Returnal is sitting at an 86. So it's a huge success for, I guess, Sony and Microsoft. I have to imagine Microsoft is feeling a little bit annoyed because this would have went a long way for them. Having a game like this launch into Game Pass, having people talk about Deathloop and the fact, oh, it's an Xbox exclusive and it's high quality, it's getting this high rating. It feels like this is exactly what Microsoft has been hoping for and what they've been working towards for a long time. But Sony got in the way of that by securing this timed exclusivity deal. But the reason why I'm calling this a win-win situation is because that's kind of what it is. And honestly, I think it's more of a win for Xbox in the long run. So right now, it's a win for PlayStation because here's a PS5 exclusive. Yes, you can play it on PC, but the point is, if you chose to buy an Xbox, you can't buy it. So you're going to want to choose to buy a PS5 if you're interested in this title. If you prefer console gaming, that's the big deal for PlayStation. They're going to have that for 1 year. They can also come out and be like, hey, it's a critical success. This is a great game. Reviewers are saying it's like a must play. It's even being talked about as a potential game of the year candidate. And so it's a win for PlayStation, and PlayStation fans are happy about it. I see PlayStation fans celebrating Deathloop, talking about how well it's reviewing and how excited they are to play it. And actually the game is out now. So if you've been playing Deathloop, be sure to tell me down in the comments below what you think of it so far. And even if you don't have it yet, is it a game that you were planning on buying? But the reason why this is also a big win for Microsoft is because, as I said, Arcane is now owned by Microsoft. And the next game that Arcane actually has coming out is set to release sometime next year in 2022. That game is Redfall. There's a lot of people who are very excited about this title, and I think that Arcane's main team is working on Redfall. There was a big leak for Redfall recently. Apparently it's very Borderlands-esque. So if you're into that type of game, you're definitely going to be paying attention to Redfall. And it seems like it's going to be a pretty good game based off of everything we know about it. We do have to see gameplay, of course, but the The point I'm trying to get at is going forward, Arcane's titles will be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. So what that means is that 3, 4, maybe 5 years from now, there could potentially be a Deathloop sequel, Deathloop 2, if you will, and it will be an Xbox exclusive. The only difference is it'll be a main Xbox exclusive. I mean, a full Xbox exclusive. It's not going to be timed. It's not going to be 1 year on Xbox and then it'll make its way to the PlayStation ecosystem. Going forward, it seems that any studio that is owned by Microsoft, any Bethesda studio that is, they're going to be producing Xbox only titles. Their games are not going to go to PlayStation. I could be wrong about that, but that's the impression I get with the way Microsoft has handled it up until this point. And so, yeah, it's a high quality studio that Microsoft has acquired. There are some people who are not happy and are certainly not going to say this because they don't like the fact that Microsoft just came out here and bought a multi-platform studio to then make them exclusive. But honestly, I feel like if that's how you're feeling, you have to be rational here and you have to understand that if you're going to say that, you also have to look at Sony and say, well, Sony, you're always doing timed exclusives. You're doing all these different exclusivity deals. You see what I'm saying? I know that there is a difference there. I'm not saying that doing a 1 year timed exclusivity deal is the same as buying an entire publisher and then making that publisher exclusive. They're two very different things. But the point I guess I'm trying to get at is that exclusivity has and always will be a thing when it comes to these platforms. It's just, it seems to be more aggressive these days. So I have to imagine Sony's feeling good and bad. This is like a double-edged sword for them because on one hand, it's like, hey, we secured this as a 1 year timed exclusive. So it's going to be relevant on PlayStation 5 for pretty much a year. And it's a highly, it's a critical success. It's scoring highly on Metacritic. So that's a big win. But on the other hand, they're like, but, this quality studio, this is the last time we're going to get something from them. So, as I said, it's a very unique, a very interesting situation. Not something that I feel like I've ever seen before. I mean, we've been seeing it more often, I guess, since the whole acquisition spree started with Microsoft. This is kind of like a thing we've been seeing, but knowing that this title is a Microsoft-owned studio, PS5 exclusive, you just never really thought you would see something like that, and yet here we are. So we're gonna have to see what happens with Arcane going forward, but this is just a conversation I wanted to have. I have to say I'm impressed by Deathloop scoring an 88. What's interesting is that a lot of people who are fans of Arcane and their previous work are seemingly not surprised. They're coming out here and they're saying, look, we've been trying to tell you Arcane is a quality studio. If you go check the reviews on Dishonored, it's a very well-respected series. It's scored very high as well. People love Arcane. They love these games. I don't know how well they sell. Again, I don't know how well Deathloop's going to sell. I don't know what Sony's expectations are. But what I do know is that Sony's definitely happy to have this as a timed exclusive, considering it's sitting at an 88 on Metacritic. And I know that Microsoft is also smiling because they now own the studio, and going forward, they're going to be able to have all of their games exclusively on the Xbox platform, even a potential sequel one day to Deathloop. Pretty crazy stuff. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. Be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this whole situation. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.